bed and let's talk Jaguars football from my house.
Hello, everybody. Chris Porter here on First Coast News Plus. Jacksonville Jaguars were in Cincinnati on yesterday and lost to the Cincinnati Bengals 31-27, despite the fact that the Bengals beat the Jaguars with their backup quarterback, Jake Browning, who came in for Joe Burrow, who injured his toe in the second quarter. There are reports that Burrow will miss 3 months with a severe turf toe injury. Jake Browning, as you know, he's very familiar in these parts. Remember 2 years ago when the Jaguars were 8-3 and played the Cincinnati Bengals, they faced Browning, who came in for an injured Joe Burrow and led the Bengals to a 34-31 win. Yesterday started strong, really dominated the first half, although the score was 17-10 at halftime. Turnovers by Trevor Lawrence in that opening half kept the Bengals in, and then ultimately it costed the Jaguars the game. Let's bring in my main man, James Coleman, who is joining us live from Mandarin. James is in a big monitor, but in the little box here. James, good to see you, man. And you know what, James, I'm really feeling some kind of way about this loss. I just felt like it was a game that we should have won.
Definitely a game that we should have won. You got to be able to take these. In the beginning of the season, though, a lot of us didn't have this marked. We thought Joe Burrow was going to be too much. The Jaguars did very well against Joe Burrow, but that curse that we had a few years ago where we could not beat a backup quarterback came true. There were times where Trevor looked very, very good. There are times when he didn't look that great at all, as well as our wide receivers. But all in all, our players just got to play better.
James, we're going to work on trying to get you to fill out this box beside me. I know that you're a big dude. There's no way that you're that small. Jay, let's hear what the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars thought about Trevor Lawrence's play on yesterday.
Time on the road, silent cadence. We had some motions and shifts in the offense in order to take advantage of, 91 and try to help with 91 in some ways. Maybe looking at it, we got to go evaluate, did we have too much in the game plan for these guys to go execute? So that's something that we have to be better at as coaches to go figure out, did we put too much on them unnecessarily, especially in the first game on the road, knowing that they were going to have some people here at this game. So we got to go look at that. Yeah, I think obviously the, turnovers are hard. Whether that's his fault, I can't say. I got to watch it. One thing I will say is I thought he competed his tail off. I thought he was, getting us again in and out of the right things and made a lot of good throws, man. He made some really good throws for us. I got to go look at one of the, some of the ones he missed and see what that looked like. But we can win with him playing like that and limiting obviously the turnovers, whether it's whose fault. Is it my fault? Was it play caller? Was it a bad design? Was it an errant throw? Was it a missed block? Right? Who knows what that looks like? But I was very proud of the competitor that he was today.
I think overall we showed we can, make plays, and just the consistency piece is still lacking at times. I think just playing a full 60 minutes with focus and attention to detail and not shooting ourselves in the foot, that's still showing up. So that's stuff that we have to correct and learn from. I think just continuing to make plays down the stretch, that's what, really good teams do. And I think there was times we did that today and big moments, and there's times we didn't. So we'll watch it and learn from it and get better from it.
All right, several things to try and dissect here, James. Number one, let's start with Liam Cohen and the first part. He said he does not know if he and his coaching staff put too much on the team heading into week 2. Your thoughts on that alone?
My thoughts on that alone is that it worked. You are a NFL team. This isn't JV. This isn't junior varsity. This isn't varsity. This is a thing where you should be able to do those different things. The shifts, that just comes from a quarterback not rushing the process. Has nothing to do with loading up too much on him. He's just got to slow it down, and he's doing too much. I think it worked until it didn't. And I don't like when people kind of go back and try to question themselves, because the game plan was working until the game plan wasn't working.
James, the other thing that we keep hearing from Trevor Lawrence year in and year out is this consistency thing. He's saying they've got to be more consistent in the situation. James, unless my eyes were playing tricks on me, the offensive line blocked for him for the entire game. He's only been sacked once in 2 games. Is the consistency part on him, or if he's not talking about himself, who on offense is he referring to specifically, you think?
I mean, totality. I mean, yeah, he got sacked in garbage time, and it still counts. He got one pressure on the interception that he threw, but that's still on him. He could have, again, that should have been an us or nobody ball. Live to fight another day. And I think that's what a lot of people who are strangely trying to convince themselves that Trevor Lawrence isn't a problem, isn't a factor. A 24.7 QBR, excuse me, a 34.7 QBR is not something that you need to defend. 6 illegal shift penalties is not something that you need to defend. The consistency starts with the highest paid player on your roster. So you got to be able to do that. Also, throwing wide receivers into 2 and 3 defenders is going to make guys get alligator arms. Yes, it's their job to catch it, but it's your job to keep them out of the infirmary as well. But I also do. I think he did well. But I think when you look at how many throws he had, even compared to Browning had 10 less throws than Trevor and only three less completions with more yardage. When we look at what Mac Jones has done in San Francisco, when you look at Daniel Jones, who he's compared to, guys got to grow up eventually, especially when I have made you the franchise guy. There's nothing wrong with asking more for Trevor Lawrence. And I think consistency starts with the guy that you have made your leader through his paycheck.
No doubt about it. When you're paying a guy like he's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL, you do need to see him play like an elite quarterback. And you know what's crazy is despite all that you just said, Trevor Lawrence is actually playing better through the first 2 games than he probably played in his entire career here since coming to the River City.
Which is an indictment, Chris.
Yes.
I hate to interrupt you, but that's an indictment of how he's been. This is a bad game for Joe Burrow, and that's who we need to be talking about Trevor Lawrence in that capacity. But this is a good game for Trevor, and it is a step in the right direction at the end of the day.
And so we'll make this call really quick. When James is talking about a player in particular, because he's not big in the box, let's take that video full if we could. Let's talk about Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence's relationship. We saw something yesterday, James, that we touched on just a little bit during Sports Final last night. There was a play, and I can't remember what quarter it was, where we saw Trevor kind of do this thing, like whatever, to Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen was telling him to put the ball in the guy's chest, put it in his chest, and Trevor did that. Before you speak about that, though, James, take a listen to this sound.
Yeah, I mean, I never want to speak for a guy and his confidence on where he's at. You know, I think me and BT have a good relationship, and we do communicate, and you know, that's just something where, you know, I got to be better for him and vice versa. Like, we got to help each other out. You know, there's a couple plays today where I can give him a chance down the field where I didn't. I know there's obviously a couple plays that he can make too, and he'd tell you the same thing. So we're all in it together. It's a team sport. That's the beautiful thing about it is no one's out there by themselves. So if that is something and he is putting pressure on himself, I'm not saying he is, he's not out there alone. He's got 10 other guys that got his back, and, you know, we're all in that together. So that's football. You know, it's not always going to go your way.
He's clearly disappointed on the 4th down drop. Do you say anything to him in a situation like that?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we're all frustrated in different times when we want to make that play, but just not much to say there. I mean, I think he understands the situation, and it is what it is. I went up to him and just said, hey, we got it next time. Let's go finish the game, go close it out. You know, at that point, hoping to get another opportunity to go finish the game. But, yeah, it is what it is. There's not much to say. Guys know it's the same thing. Like, if I have a bad throw, like, I know I got to make the throw. Same thing on the catch. So, you know, we all got to just own our part and move on and improve. You know, we had some big chunks. I think there's definitely stuff that we left out there again this week. So it's a long season, and that's obviously important to our success as an offense is me and him being dialed in and being on the same page. And we're getting there, and we just got to keep working. It's like I said, it's not all said and done after one game. So we got to continue to build, and I thought there were some improvements we made this week, and got to continue to get better. I mean, he's a great player, so it's always going to be part of our plan to get him the ball. So I think you saw that early, and then as the game goes, we have a lot of guys that are dynamic that can do things with the ball, so we feel like we can move people around, and the way games goes, the ball just kind of finds who's open. And on 3rd downs, and we have a lot of moving parts and guys moving around the field, and I thought we had a good plan to get guys open. And just for whatever reason, I guess I didn't notice that as the kind of lull in the middle of the game for him getting the ball. But my job is to find the guy that's open and try to get him the ball and move on. And obviously, there's a big plan for us for that to be BT, because he's a great player and can win his one-on-ones.
Obviously, we are one soundbite ahead. That is Trevor Lawrence talking about Brian Thomas Jr.'s and BTJ's frustration with not getting the football. James Coleman, I was saying before we went to that soundbite about Trevor Lawrence waving off Liam Cohen. What's your thoughts on that? And we'll get back to BTJ. What are your thoughts on that, James?
Well, I think that's just the natural order of him being a competitor. He messed up, and sometimes as a player, when you mess up, you don't want to look to that sideline, because coach gonna tell you that you messed up. But I will say their relationship isn't there enough, and Trevor hasn't done enough to earn that. Kind of reminds me of Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a young player. You don't get to keep getting into your coach's face when you're messing up. So on that, you should just do a little, my bad, you right. And that's a way to be able to show that you can take accountability. If it were me, I would have probably liked to see Liam go ahead, burn a timeout, or you come over here, man, you talk to me. Or we go kick the field goal, which, to be honest with you, where I think Liam messed up getting into that is you went for it on 4th down. And it completely changed the trajectory of the game, because if you go and you kick the field goal, you make a backup quarterback have to score 7, as opposed to you missed it. Now, if he would have made it, it would have been a genius, but you didn't. So now the quarterback, the game plan is we only have to get 3, and if we score a touchdown, that's a luxury. So we can kill the clock, play for overtime at the worst, but potentially play for the win. And that's where I think, again, a lot of things messed up toward the end. That in particular, though, was way more messed up.
All right, now let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. As we know, he is one of the best young receivers in the NFL, had an outstanding rookie season last year and really racked up a lot of his yards when Trevor Lawrence went down with that injury. Mac Jones was the quarterback at that time, and he really took off. We know that BTJ has been a bit frustrated with the balls not coming his way or overthrows when it does come his way. James, Trevor said there, if you heard him, I'm trying to get the ball to a lot of people. Yes, he wants to get the ball to him, but he's trying to get it to the open man. Is Trevor deflecting?
No, and I don't think it was a lack of getting Brian Thomas Jr. trying to get him the ball. They did. And I would just suggest that a lot of the drops where he gets paid to make those catches, Trevor gets paid to make better throws as well. I look at the one where Travis Hunter actually almost made a play on it, where it was an underthrown jump ball. And Brian Thomas Jr. literally stopped Trevor from getting his 3rd interception by batting the ball down. I think late in the game, I think it was a corner route. He throws them into 2 defenders. 2 of the drops that he had thrown into 2 defenders. He's not one of them, I think, was in the triple coverage. You don't force the ball to the guy. You throw the ball, because if there's 3 guys on one, guess what that means? Somebody's open somewhere else, and without having to, it's easier from the comfort of your home or breaking down film with the all-22. But Trevor's got to do a better job of reading the field and not trying to win a game, but preventing us from losing a game. And if Trevor would have tried better than don't try to win the game, don't lose us the game. And with the lead that we had, the way our defense was playing, time of possession, and just extending downs, extending drives, I think you would have seen the Jaguars not only win, but win convincingly. And I will say this, that interception that he threw when he was trying to get to De'Ami Brown, again, on a corner route, it looked like in the end zone. He keeps turning the ball over in the red zone situations. That's something that he did a lot last year. That was very frustrating as well.
Staying on Brian Thomas Jr., we can re-rack that video. BTJ was taking a lot of heat for yesterday's loss. But James, even though he did not make that catch late in the 4th quarter on, I think it was 4th and 5, in a very crucial situation in the game, I don't feel like that's where the game was lost. I actually believe that the game was lost when Trevor Lawrence threw the 2 interceptions in the first half and the Bengals were able to capitalize, scoring 10 points. I think the game was lost in the fact that we had no answer for Jamar Chase. Should BTJ be receiving so much heat for yesterday's loss?
I think it's one of the best things from that soundboard by earlier was that it's a collective team game. Everybody, 22 guys did enough to lose that game. Tyson Campbell did a lot to lose that game. Jerry Jones did a lot to lose that game. Travis Hunter had a pass interference that extended the drive, did a lot to lose that game. Trevor throwing the interceptions lost that game. If BTJ probably makes one of those catches, or doesn't deflect the one that turns into an interception, and he just sacrifices his body, things maybe changed a little bit differently. But in all, people can make better decisions and make better on plays. As I was arguing with somebody on social media, 1 + 1 is not the only way to get 2. Multiple things can be true at the same time, and there's enough blame to go around. That's what makes football such a great sport. It's the ultimate team game. You need 11 people in unison to be able to help you continue to win a game on your side of the ball.
No doubt about it, James. It is the consummate team sport. But again, a lot of folks were trying to say that Brian Thomas Jr., they were blaming him. One other thing about him before we move on, there was a play in the ball game where he had 3 Bengals defenders bracketed around him, and he appeared to pull up. Trevor threw the ball, but he appeared to pull up a bit. If you are his teammate, do you have an issue with that, him not going out for that football?
I mean, I want him to compete, but at the same time, I understand. A lot of people and a lot of fans in the comments are talking about that. Even got the rapper Plies talking about that, and he played a little football. But I tell you what, making that catch is like trying to make a left turn into oncoming traffic when your light is red and their light is green, and you got to floor it. A lot could go really, really bad. And as a guy who's actually been hit like that before, I can promise you it don't tickle. And so, it's easy to say go get the ball. But, how about you go right now? Actually, please don't. But imagine yourself right now trying to make a left-handed turn into oncoming traffic with 3 cars speeding to your left. If you get hit, it's not going to feel good. And that's essentially, remember, this is a collision sport. Even though it's not as big, the hits aren't as big as they used to be, it's not pillow fighting. That man should have made a decision to catch it. But and again, if there's 3 guys on one, that means somebody else is open.
No doubt about it. Now let's move on to the rookie now, Travis Hunter. As you know, this fan base has been so excited since the team decided to trade up and draft him back in April through 2 games. We've watched him play a lot of snaps. He played primarily on offense in week 1. Week 2, he played primarily on defense, a total of 85 snaps. James, your early progress report on what Travis Hunter has brought and how the team is using him.
I think the team is probably incorporating way too much onto him too soon. I give him a C right now, but when you look at the situations with the Bengals with good wide receivers, they picked on the rookie late, and he was a liability out there for this game. And whether you believe the pass interference was right or not, they went right at him with absolutely no fear. So, and that right there alone, but I don't think they used him enough in the passing game. Also, he caught it was a pass that, to quote my friend Kevin Sullivan, would say, if it was a spear, it would have killed him. It hit him right in the chest. You got to catch that, man. They pay you a lot of money. They drafted a lot of trade capital to be able to get you there. But I also chop that up to him being excited. I also saw some times when he was limping, was getting a little tight. This is not college. This is not high school. Maybe he will be able to get into a situation where he can consistently play both sides of the ball, but that ain't today. And I remember it was a matchup, I believe it was Jamar Chase on him, and it looked like my 12-year-old lined up over my 6-year-old.
Come on, James.
It ain't a pretty look.
Let's hear what his coach had to say about Travis's performance on Sunday.
Man, aside from that play of getting called there, I don't know. I didn't see him do anything necessarily bad. I saw on the sideline, made a nice play on a breakup, and I thought he had good energy out there. Jarian got nicked up a little bit, so it forced, a little bit more naturally, even though we wanted to get him a little bit more work as it was. So, he just keeps competing. So I didn't get a great chance to watch him individually. I just know that I don't think he hurt us.
So you heard Coach there saying he did not think that Travis Hunter hurt him. We'll talk about that. We'll table that for now. Let's move on to the defense. James, the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, the front line is getting pressure on the opposition. They're forcing turnovers, 3 turnovers on Sunday, 3 turnovers the first week, 6 turnovers through 2 weeks. They had 9 overall last year. They're already got 6 this season, and we're approaching week 3. And James, I want to talk about a guy that you know I truly love, the boy from Georgia, Trayvon Walker, and his play through the first 2 weeks, and really how Trayvon, along with Josh Hines-Allen, and now Eric Armstead, seem to be a trio that's getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, Trayvon did put a lot more pressure on the first half. I'm not 1,000% sure what happened in the second half. Maybe they were double teaming him a little bit more, but I've been impressed with him. He has gotten better as a pass rusher. He's always been really good against the run. And I think that's a testament to also Josh Hines-Allen being able to use his speed, getting back into the form, which made him one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. And congratulations, Mr. Armstead, for showing up. We appreciate you. Thank you for what you do in the community, but we brought you in for what you do on the football field. So thank you for doing that. And maybe that trio continuing to move throughout the rest of the season could be dynamic. It looked close to Saxonville in 2017 when I watched that first half. We got to finish the game, though.
Absolutely, and you know this defense is much improved. Last year it was one of the worst in the NFL, and we've already seen what Anthony Campanelli, the defensive coordinator of the Jacksonville Jaguars, what he's brought, the changes he's implemented, and how effective it is. Here's Trayvon talking about the defense as a whole through the first 2 weeks of the season.
100%. I feel like we've made a lot of great plays, especially with the way Campanelli came in off season. His mindset was all about stopping the run, and then everything else will take care of itself. I feel like we've definitely put out some pretty decent tape of what we want the identity of this team to be. We just have to continuously do that week in and week out and evolve.
And certainly this defense has evolved. You know, James, when the defense is able to get pressure on the quarterback, it forces turnovers. And we saw that, as you alluded to, back during 2017 with Saxonville. It continues to prove when your guys along that front line can get pressure on that quarterback and get him off the spot, your chances of getting them off the field either 3 and out or with a turnover, they increase tremendously.
Yeah, and that's what you really want at the end of the day. Make the quarterback uncomfortable, and they were doing that with Joe Burrow. But the problem is when Browning got in, they still got the turnovers, but they just weren't able to consistently do that. But I blame more team ball than just the defense. But I think, again, much improved. The crazy thing about this, it was a loss that we should have had as a win, but there's so much positive that you can get from out of it. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. Right now, they're trying to shift from a bad team to a good team. One more stop could have won that game. I hope as they get better, this loss becomes a lesson.
No doubt about it. One of the things that we know that when Liam Coleman was brought in to be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, everybody raved about what he was able to do with the Buccaneers offense as a whole, but in particular the running game wants to be physical. We know that the Jaguars need to be able to run the football well to take some of the pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, and we've seen Travis Etienne play well. We've seen Bashal Tutin come in and do his thing, and it has taken some of the pressure off the quarterback. But who would have thought that the Jacksonville Jaguars, after 2 weeks of the regular season or any point during the season, would have the #1 rushing attack in the NFL? Let's hear what Tutin is saying about it.
I think it's just it all starts by the way we practice. I think you know, the running backs as a group, we all practice hard on, you know, improving in the run game along with, you know, the full team. And I think Coach Cohen does a great job of calling the runs as much as he does. So just taking the routine plays from practice and going out there and dominating, you know, in a big stadium is something that we planned on and we knew was coming, you know, coming out of training camp. So we're not surprised by it.
James, Tutin has been sensational. We know that at the NFL Combine, he had the fastest 40 time of a running back. When this guy gets the ball in his hands, he's spectacular. And Travis Etienne is playing like a man who's trying to get paid at the end of the season.
Yeah, and it goes back to what, again, I don't want to be overly critical on the quarterback play or the play calling, but when you look at what Travis, what Tutin, and what Allen were able to do, you're talking about guys that together average 5.1 yards per carry. For those who don't understand math, that means two rushes, you get a first down. Like, feed the guys, feed the beast. You don't have to prove a point. We just saw the defending Super Bowl champions beat one of the most dynamic quarterbacks with their quarterback only throwing for 100 yards. So what we need to do is make sure we continue to incorporate, and that is what, like Bucky Irvin, everybody knows that name because Liam Cohen was able to make him a dynamic running back in the system, along with making Baker Mayfield a better quarterback. So again, we've seen it. It's looking very similar here in Jacksonville. We just got to make it consistent so that we don't drop wins that we should have had.
No doubt about it. And James, we got a big game this week. The Houston Texans are coming in. The last time we faced them, Trevor Lawrence was seriously injured on a cheap shot. The divisional games, as you and I both know, they're huge. You want to pick those up. You're playing at home. You need to win a ball game at home. How important is it for the Jaguars to not only get a win, but play well against the Texans to send a message that they're serious about winning the AFC South Division?
You got to take all your games seriously, but in particular the division, because you know you got to play them twice. You got to beat them when they're at home, so that you don't have. So again, that next game isn't always important, but it's not as important. You got the Indianapolis Colts right now making a lot of noise with Daniel Jones. Right now, you're the only people you've really been in competition or that have consistently done it are the Texans. You got to go smack them in the mouth and get them. And what the greatest thing right now that all Jags fans can do is we actually get a chance to watch what we could potentially be doing next Sunday tonight on Monday Night Football as the Texans play Liam Cohen's former team, the Buccaneers.
No doubt about it. Should be a fun game. James, you know what? One of the most interesting portal places we've ever done. You know, James, you and I, for full transparency, we always talk about how, man, we want to get in the gym. We want to slim down. When you go back and look at this, James, I want you to see how small and slim you look. You're looking good in that box, brother. So just to let you know, we've got an idea of what it's like. James Coleman, thank you so much for joining us today. A whole lot of fun. Jaguars again, 1-1 overall, playing the Houston Texans at home Sunday at 1 o'clock. It will be a huge confidence builder, not just for the players, but for this fan base if they're able to get the win. I'll see you guys later.
Roll out of bed and let's talk Jaguars football from my